Let me ask you something very important right now. Have you ever looked up at your ceiling and noticed something dark, something fuzzy, something that definitely was not there last month? Maybe it started as a tiny little spot, almost like a shadow, and you thought, oh, that's probably nothing. I'll deal with it later. But then later came, and that spot got bigger and darker. And now you're standing there wondering, what is that thing, and why does it keep growing? I need you to stop everything you're doing right now because what I'm about to tell you could save your home, save your health, and save you thousands of dollars. That dark patch on your ceiling, that is mold. And mold does not wait for you to be ready. It spreads every single day, silently, invisibly. And by the time most people decide to do something about it, it is already crept into the walls, into the insulation, and deep into the structure of the home they've lived in for decades. But here's the good news. You don't need to call an expensive contractor. You don't need to tear down your ceiling. You just need the right information. And that's exactly what I'm giving you today. So stay with me because every single tip in this video is going to surprise you. And by the end, your ceiling is going to thank you. Why ceiling mold is more dangerous than you think. Before we get into the fixes, you need to understand what you're actually dealing with, because this is not just an ugly stain. Mold is a living organism. It breathes, it grows, and it releases tiny, invisible spores into the air of your home every single minute of every single day. And for seniors, for anyone over 50, this is especially serious. Why? Because as we age, our lungs become more sensitive, our immune systems don't fight back as hard as they used to, and breathing in mold spores day after day can cause chronic coughing, sinus infections, headaches, fatigue, and in serious cases, respiratory damage that doctors sometimes can't even trace back to the real cause. And here's what really gets people. Most folks don't even realize the mold is affecting them. They think they have allergies. They think it's just the weather. They take medication for months and never get better because the source is right above their heads and they don't even know it. So now you know the truth. Now let's fix it. Step by step, hack by hack. Let's get that mold off your ceiling and keep it gone for good. Hack number 1, the white vinegar spray that kills mold at the root. Here's the very first thing you need to do, and it costs almost nothing. Go to your kitchen right now and grab your white vinegar. Plain, simple, white distilled vinegar, the same thing you use for cooking and cleaning. Pour it into a spray bottle without diluting it, without mixing anything else in. Undiluted vinegar is the key. Now, put on a pair of gloves and a face mask before you go anywhere near that mold. This is non-negotiable, especially if you're over 50 and have any kind of breathing sensitivity. Spray the vinegar generously directly onto the mold spot. Don't wipe it, not yet. Let it sit there for a full hour. During that hour, the vinegar is doing something incredible. It is penetrating the surface and killing the mold all the way down to its roots, not just on top, but deep inside the material. After an hour, take a stiff scrub brush and scrub the area firmly. Then wipe it clean with a damp cloth. Let the ceiling dry completely. The vinegar smell will disappear within a few hours. And here's the amazing part. That smell actually keeps mold from coming back for weeks. This is your first line of defense, and it works better than most expensive store-bought sprays. But wait, because the next hack is something most people have never even heard of, and it might be the most powerful one on this entire list. Hack number 2, baking soda and hydrogen peroxide, the dynamic duo. If the vinegar alone didn't get the job done completely, or if your mold patch is a little more stubborn, then it's time to bring in the big guns, and I mean the natural big guns. Take 3% hydrogen peroxide, the kind you find in the first aid section of any drugstore, for under $2, and mix it with a small amount of baking soda to form a thick paste. This paste is absolutely remarkable. Apply this paste directly onto the remaining mold with an old toothbrush or a small scrub brush. Press it into the surface. Let it sit for 15 to 20 minutes. What's happening during those 20 minutes? The hydrogen peroxide is foaming and bubbling its way through the mold, breaking down its cell structure completely. The baking soda is absorbing moisture and odor at the same time. When you come back and scrub it off, you're going to be shocked at how clean that ceiling looks. Wipe it down, let it dry, and stand back. The difference is going to be dramatic. But here's the thing, cleaning the mold is only half the battle. If you don't address the reason it showed up in the first place, it will come back. And that brings us to the most important hack of all. Find the moisture source before anything else. I want you to think of mold like a weed in a garden. You can pull that weed out 100 times, but if you don't pull it out by the root, if you leave the conditions that allowed it to grow in the first place, it is going to come right back. And with mold, the root is always moisture. So after you've cleaned the ceiling, you need to become a detective. Put your hand flat against the ceiling around the mold patch. Does it feel damp? Does it feel soft or spongy compared to the rest of the ceiling? If it does, you might have a slow leak from a pipe above or a leak from the roof. Even a tiny, tiny drip, a drip you can't even see or hear, can cause massive mold growth over weeks and months. Check the room above that spot, if there is one. Look under any sinks or around any pipes on the floor above. Go up into the attic if you can, and look for water stains on the rafters or insulation. If you find a leak, seal it immediately. Use plumber's putty or call a plumber. This step alone will save you from having to clean that same ceiling over and over again for the rest of your life. And the next hack, this one is going to change the air in your entire home. Hack number 4, the ventilation fix that stops mold before it starts. Most ceiling mold does not come from a roof leak or a pipe leak. Most ceiling mold comes from something far more simple: humidity. Warm, moist air rises in your home. It collects near your ceiling. It condenses against the cold surface. And that moisture is like a 5-star restaurant for mold. It settles in, pulls up a chair, and starts multiplying. The solution is airflow. Open your windows every single day, even if it's just for 15 minutes in the morning. This one habit alone, done consistently, can dramatically reduce the moisture levels in your home. If you live in a room that tends to be damp, a bathroom, a basement bedroom, a laundry room, then you need a dehumidifier. You can find a good one for under $50, and it will pull cups and cups of water out of your air every single day. That water that ends up in the dehumidifier tank is water that would have ended up on your ceiling. Also, check your exhaust fans. If you have a bathroom fan or a kitchen fan, run your hand near the vent while it's on. Do you feel it pulling air? If it's weak or if it's just recycling air back into the room instead of pushing it outside, it's doing nothing to protect you. Clean the vent cover, clean the fan blades, and make sure the duct is venting outside. This single fix has saved hundreds of ceilings. But we're not done yet. The next hack is one that most people don't find out about until it's too late. Hack number 5, anti-mold paint, your long-term shield. Once you've cleaned the mold and fixed the moisture source, it's time to put up a permanent barrier. And that barrier is anti-mold paint, not regular paint, not primer. Anti-mold paint, sometimes called mold-resistant paint, contains a biocide formula that is built directly into the paint itself. When mold spores land on that surface, they cannot take hold, they cannot grow, they die right there on the spot. Before you paint, make sure the ceiling is completely dry. Completely. Give it at least 48 hours after cleaning. Then apply 1 coat of mold-resistant primer first, let it dry fully, then apply 2 coats of your anti-mold paint. The most popular brands are Zinsser Perma White and Kills Mold and Mildew. Both are available at any hardware store. This paint looks exactly like regular white paint once it's dry. Your ceiling will look beautiful, clean, and fresh. But underneath that beautiful surface, there is an invisible shield that is going to protect you for years. And speaking of protection, the next tip is one that seniors especially need to hear because it involves something sitting in almost every home right now. Hack number 6, tea tree oil, nature's most powerful mold fighter. This one surprises people every single time. Tea tree oil is one of the most powerful natural antifungal substances on the planet. It has been used for generations as a natural remedy, and science has confirmed what traditional healers have always known. It kills mold and mold spores with remarkable effectiveness. Here's how to use it. Add 2 teaspoons of pure tea tree oil to 2 cups of water in a spray bottle. Shake it well before each use. Spray it on any area where you've had mold or any area where you're worried mold might develop. Corners, edges, areas near vents. Do not rinse it off. Just let it dry in place. The tea tree oil continues working as it dries, and it leaves behind a residue that keeps repelling mold for weeks afterwards. Yes, it has a strong medicinal smell, but that smell fades within a day or two, and what you're left with is a surface that mold genuinely does not want to touch. Use this spray once a month as a preventative measure, and you are going to be amazed at the difference. Now, let's talk about something that almost no one mentions, and it might be the sneakiest cause of ceiling mold in the entire house. Hack number 7. Check your attic insulation right now. If your home is more than 20 years old, and for many of you watching it may be 40 or 50 years old, your attic insulation may be doing more harm than good. Old, compressed, or damaged insulation does not regulate temperature properly. In the winter, warm air from inside your home rises, hits the cold ceiling, and creates condensation. That condensation soaks into the ceiling material over time, and within weeks, mold follows. You don't need to replace everything. Start by simply going up into the attic and looking. Are there water stains? Is the insulation clumped, wet, or discolored? Is there visible mold on the wood beams or rafters? If the answer to any of these is yes, you need to address it. Adding a layer of new insulation over the old can make an enormous difference in temperature regulation and moisture control. You can also add attic ventilation, simple roof vents that allow hot, humid air to escape the attic before it can cause damage below. This one change in many homes completely eliminates recurring ceiling mold. Hack number 8. The borax solution most people don't know about. There's one more cleaning solution that deserves a spot on this list, and it is borax. Borax is a natural mineral powder that you can find in the laundry aisle of any grocery store, usually in a green box. Mix 1 cup of borax into 1 gallon of hot water. Stir until it dissolves. Apply this solution to the moldy area with a stiff brush and scrub thoroughly. Unlike vinegar or hydrogen peroxide, you do not need to rinse borax off. Leave it on the surface as it dries. As it dries, it forms a protective coating that inhibits future mold growth. It is non-toxic, it has no harsh fumes, and it is extremely effective, even on persistent mold patches that have been growing for a long time. Borax also works beautifully in bathrooms, on tile grout, on caulking, on the edges where the wall meets the ceiling. Use it monthly as a preventative wash, and you will see a dramatic improvement in mold control throughout your entire home. So let's bring it all together. You now know the truth about ceiling mold, how dangerous it is, how fast it spreads, and exactly how to stop it. White vinegar kills it at the root. Hydrogen peroxide and baking soda blast it away. Fixing the moisture source prevents it from returning. Improving ventilation cuts off its food supply. Anti-mold paint creates a barrier that lasts for years. Tea tree oil gives you a natural monthly defense. Checking your attic insulation eliminates the hidden cause most people never find. And borax gives you a powerful, gentle, long-term protective wash. You do not have to live with mold. You do not have to spend thousands of dollars. You just have to act, and you have to act now, before that tiny spot on the ceiling becomes a problem that takes over your walls, your air, and your health. Now, here's something I want you to think about before you go. You fixed the mold on the ceiling, but what about the walls? What about those mysterious damp patches near the baseboards, or that musty smell coming from the corner of the bedroom that just won't go away no matter what you do? That could be something even more serious than ceiling mold, and in our next video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to detect hidden wall mold, what causes it, and how to remove it permanently without tearing a single thing apart. So if you don't want to miss that, subscribe to this channel right now and make sure you hit the bell icon so you get notified the moment that video goes live. And before you go, please share this video with someone you care about, a family member, a neighbor, a friend who mentioned something about a stain on their ceiling. You might be sharing something that genuinely protects their health. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.